Gotcha.
So
No worries. Yeah, so, and then ST300 would just be fully online. So anyway, this class, my ST200 courses, do not have a live stream synchronous portion for the online. Okay, so for you guys, your online days are going to be Thursdays, right? You're just responsible for whatever we're doing. Okay, so if it's a due date for something, get it turned in. If there's a new assignment posted, read the description, watch the tutorial videos that are linked in the assignment description, and then watch the class recording. Okay, watch those class recordings just in case there's something you might have missed. And I do them in such a way, like right now I'm recording, so it's my desktop and then my voice. Okay, so you can really just put them on and like do other stuff, and just kind of listen to it. You don't have to sit there and hone in on it. A lot of our stuff though will be demos. So on the days you're here, I'll demo whatever project we're working on. I'll be writing code, I'll be talking about, especially these first few weeks, there'll be a lot of presentations. 5, this is 3, this is what it means, this is what we're doing. So that stuff you will want to watch. Okay. There are videos from, like already made videos for most of those things. Not all the presentations, because I changed them so much. But the tutorial videos for the projects, right? So you can, if you want to, skip over the part of the class recording where I start talking about, or I start showing how to do something for a project. Those recordings are already done and they're already linked to the assignment descriptions. But it's up to you. I will try in class to stick to those as much as possible. For the presentations and stuff, you want to watch them. And I'll try to break those out. I might separate those. If I record a class, I might make one video like class recording presentation, and then, if I then do a demo, I'll do class recording demo. And that way you don't have to hunt and peck. Okay? If I remember. So I'll try. Yeah, so I'm Alex. You can call me Alex, you can call me Professor Myers. I'm not a doctor, I don't have a PhD. I have an MFA, which is an arts degree, it's a Master of Fine Arts. It's terminal in the arts. It's the equivalent of a PhD, we just don't get a title or the fancy fluffy. I did grad school in the Netherlands, lived there for about 3 years. Did interactive media environments, I do all the interactive stuff, all the computer science adjacent design work here in the department. Just got tenure, so I can't get fired, which is awesome. It's a good feeling, except now the world's ended, so we'll see. Creighton's still around next year, then I guess that's good. Not that I don't think it's great. Nobody thinks it's I just thought it was really ironic that I would get tenure the year the world ended. It's like, yeah, all right, that's the trajectory of my life. Yeah. So this is my 7th year, or start of my 7th year. You guys are the last class of the week, so it's like I've done all this 2 times already, and now I'm trying to remember. Because I have a couple of you in other classes. I'm trying to. Well, it's gonna be boring for you guys. I'm sorry. I'm from here, sort of. I'm also from California. I grew up in Southern California in the Riverside area, or Los Angeles area. Riverside's like 80 miles east of Los Angeles, out in the middle of the desert. But I have family here, and I actually finished school here. We spent summer, my sister and I spent summers out in California, so I kind of claimed both places. As I've gotten older, I've definitely more identified with California than I have. So, but I keep trying to leave Nebraska, and I keep coming back. Can't get away from it. I have an 8-year-old. I have an 8-year-old daughter, a 4-year-old son, and an 18-month-old son. So if I was really tired some days, that's probably why. Yeah, I don't know. School's weird for them right now too, so everybody's in the same boat, I guess. I'm the only person that teaches web design in the department. I don't know why I tell you that, other than if you don't like me, too bad. You can't really take it with anybody else. But no, it should be fine. We'll get through it. Hopefully you're not afraid of it. I try to make it really easy. We don't use any fancy what you see, what you get editors like Dreamweaver or anything like that. Who took Foundations with Professor Koch. Okay. You did? Did you guys use Dreamweaver? Okay. Yeah, you can just forget Dreamweaver. You'll never use it again. I don't know. I keep trying to get her to switch, and she, for the most part, she has more or less switched. But she likes Dreamweaver. That's what she knows. So that's what she does. We will be using just an editor, like Atom. You can use brackets. I will use Atom, and all my demos are in Atom. But if you like brackets, which I think is what the CS department program uses, or Sublime Text. Anybody like Sublime Text? If you don't know what these are, don't worry about it. Don't use Text Wrangler. Don't use Clips. Don't use Notepad or Notepad++. Don't use CodePen because that's not really an editor. Yeah.
I was going to ask, so I forget, does Adam have?
Yes. Okay. Well, no. So here's the thing. Live previews are cool and flashy, but kind of redundant and dumb. Your browser is a live preview, right? So we're just going to open web pages in browsers and just refresh them. Although you will do some tweaking in the browser, use a web inspector, and then you can see kind of like it'll update right away. The only thing it doesn't do is save those changes. So you have to be aware of what you've changed.
I'm just trying to choose between, because I'm in web programming also, so like Atom and brackets. I've used both.
You can use brackets in here, that's fine. Okay. My demos are going to be in Atom, but it's HTML, CSS, so yeah, it's platform agnostic. That's not going to change. The one thing I would check, is that I make a very heavy use of a plugin called Emmet, which is like, you know Emmet? Oh, great, cool. From what? From Foundations?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you take it with me or did you take it with that? Okay, I thought so.
Yeah.
You know the mask. I can't see it. I use Emmet quite a bit. It just makes writing HTML and CSS way easier, a lot faster. I'm not sure if there's a bracket plugin for that. There probably is, but I would check that.
I might just use Atom.
Yeah, use whatever. Yeah, Atom has its own issues. It drives me crazy.
I've been using Microsoft's Visual Studio Code.
Oh, Visual Studio Code is really good. Yeah.
It's got like a live plugin that you can use, but it opens in the browser, but it updates the browser live. So it's like a balance.
Oh, instead of having to refresh the
instead of having to like do save or whatever.
Interesting.
It's kind of nice.
Yeah.
Only restart.
I'm just like, why would they do that? It's always funny to me, but I know why.
Or who knows? Maybe it updates when I save, and I'm just so used to saving.
Right. You can, use whatever you're comfortable with. Just know that all my stuff will be in Atom. Does that make sense? I use Visual Studio Code for other coding stuff, like pretty much everything else I do, except web programming. So it's fine. Cool. Well, we went a little further. I think we like jumped way ahead, but that's I did it. I have no idea. I'm trying to think. I know I've said all this stuff already today, but not for this class. Yeah, I don't, that's me. Oh yeah, that's what I usually do. I'll show you guys some of my work. So my background is in the arts, right? I'm an artist. I still exhibit, usually all over the world. So there would generally be some time during the semester where I'd be traveling for. This year, no. But I do all kinds of stuff like this. I do lots of 3D modeling and rendering. I do lots of stuff with 3D printing and physics simulations. I do mods for games. Take a game and I make changes to it to make it my own. This is a VR music video that I did several years ago. This is a multiplayer game. This is a Chrome plugin. It's kind of a joke more than anything. It tries to make your Chrome plugin feel like a French New Wave film. It's such a dumb inside joke. There's a book written by a man named Alexander Galloway, who was a visiting tutor at my grad school. And the book is about interface criticism. There's just essays on interfaces, and interface design and theories of interface, which is what I study. And in it, he has this throwaway line in like the very first essay where he talks about how everything is becoming a plugin or a filter, like a Snapchat filter or an Instagram filter. And one of the things he talks about is the day that Jean-Luc Godard becomes a filter, he knows the world has ended. It's a very old man kind of statement, right? I think he's my age. Well, he's a little older. Anyway, so I decided to make the Jean-Luc Godard point. It's just like, I made it and I sent it to him and he never responded. So he's probably like, I don't remember who you are, but that's fine. Anyway.
I probably just died on the spot. I just opened it.
It may have. It still runs, as far as I know. I mean, I made it.
No, he died seeing it.
Oh, he died seeing it, yeah. God, I made it 7 years ago. Whoops. So I do lots of stuff like that. I like to take data and turn it into 3D models, which is what's happening there and there. This is the first 666 lines of the iTunes executable file, the hex code executable file, converted over to 3D coordinates, XYZ coordinates, and then plugged into a 3D modeling program. And then I just applied the texture. I applied each icon for every version of iTunes 6. There's like 10 different versions of it. And then I had a friend who took the executable information and turned it into music. And then we packaged my images with his music into an album and we put it on iTunes. I thought was hilarious. We made an album out of iTunes itself, the software. This is every point version of, or iTunes 10, I'm sorry. Every point version of iTunes 10 turned into 3D modeling. Oh, that's right. And I stuck it into an existing 3D model of a man listening to music on his iPhone. Lots of little layers of dumb jokes, right? This is how you make art. You just find a dumb joke and you just lots of little layers. But yeah, dumb stuff like that. I like to think about how things would look or sound or feel in different contexts. So anyway, that stuff's there. You can Google it and find it pretty easily if you're at all curious. If not, no worries. Just to give you a sense of kind of who I am and what I do. All right, let's talk about the course. Let's get through the syllabus, and then we can call it a day. So the course is broken up into modules because this course switched right at the last minute on me on Sunday afternoon. I don't have all your modules filled out yet, but I do have the first three. This module will open up on Thursday. Okay, that's what we'll get started with on Thursday. So you'll just want to, once you see that open, go through the description. Expand it and show you. Go through the description, start reading things. Oops, it's supposed to be in order here. Let's stick this there. Okay. So you want to start with the reading, look at the project description. Flexbox Froggy is sort of a little exercise to do while you're also doing this. It's to teach you something called Flexbox, which is a way of designing layouts in CSS. Okay, CSS being cascading style sheet. Also on Thursday will be the presentation on what HTML is, what CSS is. If you had foundations with me, you've already seen this stuff because I get into it in foundations. If you had foundations with Bethany, she might have covered it. Who had Bethany again? Did she?
We just did Photoshop Illustrator.
You did two websites?
I did web and the
CSC 121.
Yeah.
But not in Bethany's? Did you do web stuff in Bethany's?
I did it as a summer class and we did a little bit next Thursdays or something.
Okay. Did she say this is what HTML is and this is how
we used
how an HTML page is structured?
Not really.
Oh, okay.
We used WordPress in her class, but I already have a Squarespace.
Right, I wrote that assignment. Okay, cool. What about you guys?
I had Fantastic.
Oh, okay. What did you guys do?
Mostly just Adobe products.
Did you do website stuff?
Oh.
Okay. All right. What about you? I remember doing. Did she talk to you like, well, this is a CSS declaration? We just did Dream. Oh, that's fine. Okay, great. No, then you guys are all, those of you that have me, you're going to be bored. One of you. The rest of you, it's going to be new information, so it'll be fine. So Thursday you'll want to look for that presentation. Okay, it'll be just a recording from class. So don't worry about looking at class stuff until after 4 o'clock, essentially, on Thursday. I mean, you look at this stuff, but you're scratching your head going, I don't know how we're going to start with this. Then wait for the presentation. The reason I'm not live streaming is that technically it just doesn't work very well if I want to record. If I'm trying to do all of that on here and code at the same time on here, like live stream code or live stream record and code, it's going to make my machine crash. I tried it, I tested it, it's not good. And I'm just not going to take questions in the middle of doing all that. Too disruptive. So, but yeah, look for that stuff on Thursday. I'll open it up. It should be all right. And then Tuesday, we'll also be working on it. So if you have questions, like something you're scratching your head about it over the weekend, you can ask me on Tuesday. Or you can email me or do office hours or something, which we'll get into in a second. So yeah, the first module, a little introduce yourselves a bit. Just tell me who you are, your major, things you're interested in anything else you want to share. This will be what you see if you do office hours with me at some point. Most of those are going to be from my apartment. I'm going to leave here and I'm going to go do office hours. It's more comfortable. So check that out. Somebody's already done it. Look at that. Look at that. Carrie did it too. Awesome. Yeah, so pretty self-explanatory. It is graded and it is due next Tuesday. It's just 25 points. It's super easy. As long as you do it. Just a little paragraph or a video. It's up to you. And then there's the modality information and class attendance schedule. Come on. There we go. I like GIFs, so you're going to see a lot of them. And Sesame Street. So like I said, this is a hybrid course. You're here on Tuesday, come on Tuesdays, don't come on Thursdays, sort of thing. I mean, you can decide which day you want to come. Office hours. My office hours, these might change a little bit over the course of the semester. I have some things going on Mondays right now, Monday afternoons, that might change. So if that goes away or changes or whatever, then it'll be Monday off as well. But right now they're just Tuesday, Thursday in the morning, 9 to 10:30, and Wednesday 12 to 4. Okay. Email me for appointments for office hours, and I will send you a Zoom link. I'm not doing Zoom rooms because it's really buggy software and when you control your computer, it's terribly written software. It is terribly written. And I'm not giving it that kind of control anymore. For good reason. I do a lot of other stuff on there. It screws up my laptop. So we'll be doing like individual Zoom links. Okay. I might give you a Zoom link, and that will be like your Zoom link. That sort of thing. And I'll give out appointments in 30-minute increments. One thing that's different this semester is they're asking that you don't hang around after class to ask questions. It's just to keep people from milling and grouping, and etc. If you have questions, email me, message me through Blue Line. All that stuff works. Okay. Shout at me from across the room. Whatever. I'm generally pretty accessible, through email or whatever. I might set up a Slack channel for the class. Does anyone know what Slack is? So I might do that. That's kind of a nice private social network that we can set up. But we'll see how it goes. I'm in Slack all the time anyway for other reasons, so I'm not opposed to doing that. All right, the syllabus. You can download a copy of the syllabus here, that'll be the last thing we go through, just because it's a little boring. One thing I do want to touch on right now is I do these extra credit reading opportunities in all of my classes, and what this is, it's a list of books that I think are important. This list of books, it skews towards sci-fi. We'll talk about that in a minute. But it's just full of stuff that I think is going to, if you read it, it's going to make you a better person. It's going to expand your horizons, expand your boundaries. Okay. The idea behind this assignment is it's extra credit. You read one of these books, you come talk to me about the book, or through Zoom or whatever. Convince me you read the book and didn't just read the Wikipedia article or watch the movie. And then I bump your lowest project grade at the end of the term by a letter. So C to a B, B to an A. I do this because A, I want to incentivize you guys to read one of these. They're great. Who reads for fun? Damn, nobody. Okay.
Little.
My morning class, it was just like crickets. Like, I was like, who reads for fun? And nobody's hand went up. Oh my God, what's going on? The youth of today, I'm kidding. Yeah, so just read one of these. There's lots of different stuff on here. If there's something that you think that you want to read that isn't on this list, email me with the name and let me know what it is. I will look into it, and if I decide it fits kind of my criteria for this list, then I'll say, yeah, cool. And then I'll read it, and you'll read it. And then, so I'm always reading something. I'm usually reading. The reason this skews towards sci-fi is speculative fiction. It's fiction thinking about the future, thinking about what if. Taking a situation today and trying to project forward and figure out what might happen, right? As designers, that's what we do. Speculative design is all about like, what if? Take the conditions of today and think about what's going to happen in the future, what we might need, what sort of solutions we need to get there or not get there. We kind of happen to be on the worst timeline. So, like, what do we do to fix all this, etc. Right? It's just a big what if question. In these books, that's all they do is they just say what if. There is a healthy mix of nonfiction and fiction. There's a bunch of graphic novels on here. There are collections of essays. If you do decide to pick a collection of essays, say 79 short essays on design, that is a thick book, right? I'll probably say read 3. You can talk to me. Let me know which 3 you're going to read. I'm talking about it. That way I can refresh myself. I haven't read that book. Okay? That's sort of it. Cool. All right. So in order to let me know about it, there is a form. It's that second link. Fill the form out. Give me your email address. Give me your name. Tell me which class you're in, which book you're reading. Okay?
Yeah. We have to like preface now, or if we feel we did that on something that we agree to it.
You can wait. I usually shut it down a few weeks before the end. Or I'll just feed it. I'll come in and I'll say, okay, I'm not taking it anymore. This feeds to a spreadsheet, so I have a record of it. It's just that if it's something I haven't read in a while, then I need time to like refresh my memory. And I don't want people like in the last week of school being like, I read this book. And I'm like, really? Yeah, you read this book during your finals week? Sure. So that sort of thing. Not that you couldn't have, but it's not really the best use of your time at that point.
I've read some.
Have you?
Yeah.
Great. Yeah, pick something you haven't read.
Well, obviously. No, I was going to.
Not obviously. I've had people be like, yeah, I've read this book like 10 times. I know it back and forward. And it's like, well, that's not the point. So, but yeah, that's great. I'm glad you.
I haven't read some of these since sophomore year of high school.
Sure. There's some really good stuff on there. Cool. Okay. So yeah, I like to do that. That's a fun assignment usually. I had a professor do it for me when I was an undergrad, and I thought it was great because the reading list he gave me was amazing. And I read most of the stuff on it over the course of a few years. But yeah. All right, let's take a look at the syllabus then. Oh yeah, so somebody paid Snoop to do a cameo for university students.
Big Snoop Bill Double G, all university students. Yeah, syllabus. You gotta do it. You gotta read it. Man, I'm telling you, the more you know, the further you go. Tell them, Snoop Dogg sent you. Syllabus. I know all about it. Catch up so we can have a conversation. Don't be late. Let's go.
Sorry, it's funny the professors, I guess. Yeah, so web design. We're going to learn how to make stuff for the web. Or not just make stuff, but make it look good. Web design is about learning how to communicate the information you've been given clearly and in a pleasing manner, generally, according to whatever the topic, whatever copy. As designers, you usually are given copy, so like words, pictures, and whatnot, and then asked to design it and arrange it, make it look nice and work. Ideally, that's what I would say, though, about 80% of the time, I usually, when I do freelance work, I usually also then have to put a copy or have them take it, whatever. So there will be a fair amount of like assets. For our purposes, I'll give you most of the copy that you'll be using, so you don't have to think about the words too much. You just got to think about how they should look, and is there enough space, and is everything aligned? And that way you can concentrate more on getting comfortable moving things around and arranging things on a web page. Then, is there a typo or a spell? So we'll spend a lot of time with HTML and CSS. If that goes well, we might get to do some CSS animation stuff, which is always a lot of fun. Or we might get to jQuery, which is kind of like basic interaction. So getting events, like clickable events, pop-ups and accordions, and those sorts of things. A lot of that actually can be handled in CSS now, which is really nice. But usually in the past it's been jQuery or JavaScript. So we'll see. We'll see if we can get there. Sometimes in this class I can get there, sometimes we can't. It just depends on the pace. You guys should count yourselves lucky. If you'd been in this class last semester, we would have spent a month recreating Twitter's page in HTML and CSS. That's like all we did for like a month. I thought it was going to take us 2 weeks, and it took us a month. Yeah, so yeah, it was kind of fun actually. I liked it. You learn pretty quickly that a lot of these websites that are used every day, like Facebook and Twitter, horribly engineered. Like they're stuck together with like masking tape and bubble gum. They're not efficient in any way, shape, or form. There's a bunch of rules on here for just, don't steal other people's work. Make sure you have permissions to use the images you're using. This is really important for this class. Fonts, etc. I'll get into it more when we get there, but we will be using web fonts, which are different than just regular fonts that you have installed on your machine. Just because you have a font on your machine doesn't mean anybody else does, right? So we need to use web fonts, which are stored on a server, usually some sort of CDN, content delivery network, Google, Amazon, whatever, right? And when we code our pages, we will tell the user's browser, through our code, we'll tell the user's browser to go out to that server, grab a copy of that font, and load it on this page. And if their browser can't find that font, it just loads whatever the default browser is, or default font is on their machine. Does that make sense? In web design, everything is relative to the user. The user's browser that they're using to see what we're designing. Okay? So you can try to control it and make it as perfect as possible, and then they're going to come in with a browser that's like always zoomed in at 150% and has like 30-point font or 30-point font size set as their default, and they've turned off CSS. You can't control it, so don't even try. Right? We're going to design the best, like the middle ground as much as possible, and try not to worry about those edge cases, because there will always be those edge cases. But you need to, in some sense of it, be aware of it and know that there are a couple things we can do to still exert control. Some good things to keep in mind for us: get used to saving constantly. You need backups of your work, physical backups, so like external hard drive, flash drives. For us, it's not going to be that big of a deal because we'll be dealing with projects that don't get super huge unless we get a lot of pictures in them or videos or whatever. But for the most part, you can get by with flash drive. Flash drives are temporary, though. They are fragile storage devices. Every time you read and write to a flash drive, so every time you save stuff and pull stuff off of it, or if you open up something that's on a flash drive and you're using that actively, that's a constant read-write cycle. You're bombarding that flash drive with electricity, and it's breaking down the physical memory. so it will die. It has millions and millions of read-write states that you can do to it, but in any given situation, you're probably doing a couple thousand. So we'll go through it pretty quickly. Okay. Anyone just had a flash drive just like die on them? No? All right. Making better, I guess. I recommend an external hard drive though. It will last longer. And you can just get one and have it for all your classes. Definitely also cloud storage. Okay, Google Dropbox, or Google Drive, iCloud, whatever. That will help you as well. So all of this is just to say that if you lose your files or your computer dies or something, you don't have a copy somewhere else, it's not going to be an excuse for not turning it in. Right? Digital mediums, so you can have infinite copies of stuff fairly easily. Cool? All right. Class rules. You're adults. I'm not going to worry about it. My phone's right there. I always have my phone because I have little kids. So there have been days where I've gotten a call and they're like, "The kid almost killed himself. You got to come get him." Like, okay, class is over. I got to get my kid. That sort of thing. Okay. It might happen. I don't know. It might also be like, he seems like he's sick. You have to come get him. And I'll be like, okay, class is canceled for 2 weeks, guys. Or not canceled, but for us, online for 2 weeks. Those sorts of things. This is going to be a weird semester. We're all just going to have to kind of roll with it. Okay. So if you have your cell phones with you, that's totally cool. If you get a phone call, just take it out in the hallway. Okay, just be an adult about it. Don't take it in class. I'll ask you to leave. Even if we're not doing anything, don't take it in class. If it's work time, just go out in the hallway. Same with like text messaging and stuff. I don't care if you're doing it during class. You're responsible for what I'm saying, for remembering it and getting it and everything. I know I'm recording, but you can't always count on that. Like, as you notice, I move around. It usually is pretty good about picking me up even if I'm way over there. But don't count on it, right? Plus, it's just kind of rude if you've got your phone up and you're texting in the middle of giving a lecture. Be circumspect about it if you can't. If you really, really have to text. I don't really care. I'm not going to say don't do it, but music. If we have more time, which we will, and you want to listen to music, that's totally fine. Just headphones. Okay. If I can hear your music, that's bad for your ears and for me. So I'll ask you to turn it down for my better. But music's fine. Just don't be that person that plays there.
I was just gonna say, I'm an RA thing, so like there might be like a case where I'm not necessarily taking a call.
Oh, that's fine.
Or things.
Yeah.
I just want to let you get something.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, all right. So that brings us to project grades. This is my rubric for grading. What it will look like when you actually get it attached to an assignment is this. I'll fill it out, your name, the project name. You get 40% for just turning it in. You get 10% for craftsmanship. In our context, in like web design, craftsmanship is your project directory organized? So every website is essentially a folder on the hard drive. Okay, and so you've got your main folder, which would be like Creighton.edu. Okay, and then you have everything inside of that. So you have your home page, your splash page. That's called index.html. It's called index because the browser, and I'll get into this detail. Index just loads automatically. So if you type in Creighton.edu, you're actually going to like Creighton.edu/index.php for stuff like that. So anyway, the browser just doesn't show you that. So you'd have your index page, then you'd have like a folder for CSS files, folder for images, folder for other media, whatever. Folder for other pages, maybe. So then your CSS goes in your CSS, all your CSS files go in your CSS folder, your images go in your image, etc. That would be like craftsmanship, making sure that's all organized the way that I've asked you. Other things that would go into craftsmanship would be like, is your HTML indented correctly? Is it obvious to me what's a parent and what's a child? And if it doesn't make any sense to you, don't worry about it. Right? But have you followed the sort of style guides and style suggestions that I've given you when I've been writing it? the little things that I talk about. Okay? Those little things are really going to be like presentation, proper nesting, stuff like that. Those things are important because they make it easier for me to debug it. If you have a problem, you can't fix it, you don't know why, you send it to me, and your indentations are all over the place. I can't tell what the relationships are between everything you've written in HTML. I'm going to have to spend like 10 minutes. Actually, I'm probably going to be like, clean this up and then send it back. So yeah, stuff like that. Also, like, punctuation. Is your punctuation correct? That matters a lot. Okay. If you get punctuation wrong, it'll break it. So yeah, that's craftsmanship. Thoroughness. Did you follow the instructions? Did you pay attention to the details? So that's stuff I've said in class or stuff written in the descriptions. Diligence. Is it obvious that you spent enough time on the project? Does it look like you spent time? Clarity. Concept of the assignment. Is it clearly recognizable? Can I look at what you did and say, oh yeah, that goes with that assignment. Oh, that goes with that other assignment. Does that make sense? Right? It'll make more sense when we look at what the assignment is. So all of that, doing all of that and doing it well gets you to an 80% for the project. Okay. That's a low B, it's a B minus. To get into the middle and upper B's and A's, that's in what I call inventiveness. That does change for the assignment. There might be like accuracy. Might be one if it's something I was like recreate this thing exactly. But that's just evidence that you've pushed yourself to try things. You've experimented. You've shown some initiative on the project. If you do exactly what I ask you to do, that's a C or a B. That's average. That's average grade. Right, a B minus. I want to see that you're willing, that you're invested in the class, pushing yourself to explore a little bit. Okay. If I see that, then you get up into those upper. It's not hard to get there. It really isn't. But I want to see that. If I don't see it, then you don't get many points in that category. There's always some evidence of it, usually. But yeah. So great. So that's the rubric for projects. Here's a bit more of an explanation of that rubric. Late stuff. This is my normal late policy. I'm going to be really lenient this semester. I'll just be flat out about that. Just given everything all the other stuff we have to deal with. The main thing I don't want to do is I don't want to grade everything that you're turning into me on midterm or finals. If it comes to that, I'll just be like, yeah, I'll take your most recent. I'm not taking the ones from like 9. That's finals. That makes sense? We tend to work in like 2 to 3 or sometimes 4 week chunks projects. So we'll probably do like 5 projects this semester. So you should have plenty of time to get stuff done because I'll give you a lot of in-class. That's time that you can be working. Hey, I have a problem. And normally I would come over and check it out, but I'll be like, okay, email me your project. Then I'll look at it, I'll put it up on the screen, and we'll work through it. Okay. Okay. This is our grading scale for the term, or for our department. Let's talk about these 0.9s real quick. So say you're at like 92.97, right? I don't automatically round up. I will round up, especially in that kind of instance, if you have a reputation or a habit in my class of pushing yourself or showing excellence in other projects, or you're active on the discussion boards, etc. Discussion boards in this class, I haven't talked about this yet, but we'll be using discussion boards for. Okay, so when we do a project, normally we would critique in class. I have this method I use with like post-its, and you remember, right? Post-its. But that's not COVID friendly, so we can't do that. So all of our critiques will be done on discussion boards. So you'll upload your stuff. Might just be like a snapshot of it, like a screenshot of it. It might actually be your whole project in your code. You need to then respond to 2 other people's projects. Okay? Leave them positive feedback and constructive feedback. Constructive feedback is essentially negative feedback. It's like finding something that's wrong, but then suggesting a way that it can be fixed. Okay? It's not just saying, hey, this is dumb. It's like, hey, this is dumb because, and then telling them why it's dumb. And you could fix it by doing this. That makes sense. It's totally okay to say something is dumb or doesn't work or you don't like it. Just back it up. Right? You can't just like run by and lob that kind of a grenade. Oh, it's terrible. I couldn't go any further with it. But yeah, just don't run by and be like, it's stupid, you know, and then run off. Right? Say it's stupid, but then say why and how they can fix it. Maybe don't say stupid. You know what I mean? Right. Also, as a design student, it's gotta kind of grow a thick skin with it when it comes to criticism. You know, you're gonna get criticized a lot. I'm gonna pick your stuff apart. Great. It's just to help you get better. Right? You learn more from failure than you do. A lot more. So yeah, and the same goes with like positive stuff. Like if you like something, or one of your comments, you know, is like, "Hey, this is great," don't just leave it at that. Okay, I won't give you points for that. Say, "Hey, this is great because you did a really good job with your negative space. All your spacing is proportional. Your alignments are all correct. You know, that font is really good for that header or whatever, right? That kind of thing. The images scale correctly. We'll find stuff. You'll get a vocabulary for it. I'll give you for your first one. I'll make available a PDF of like prompts. And I'll mention this and what about this? And how does this look? That kind of thing. And then eventually it'll just sort of become part of it. So does that make sense? Okay, so if you do that kind of stuff, then I'm more likely to round up. Even if you're like 92.6, I might be like, they deserve the 96. That kind of thing. So there's always a little bit of wiggle room. Yeah. Like say, for instance, you never turned in a late assignment. You'd be like, yeah, you can have an A. That kind of a thing. Midterms are the first week of October. We don't have a break. Yay. We do have a midterm in this class. This class's midterm is half questions and half practical. The practical will be something like I give you an image of a web page that I made, and then I give you a folder full of all the images that I use on that web page, and then I say, make that web page. You got an hour and a half to do. This is exactly what would happen if you were to interview a front-end developer job. They'd be like, hey, cool portfolio, prove it. You know, here's the thing, make it real quick. I mean, that's what's happened to me before. So, get you guys ready for that. I'm gonna put you through it. Okay? But don't worry, the webpage I show you is one that I made in like 20 minutes. So you should all do it in that. Cool. I will say in this class, I do this in my foundations class as well. In that class, maybe 20% gets close. In this class, it's more like 60 or 70. A little easier with web. All right. So that'll be midterms. Oh, we will also do some quizzes. I don't have a regular schedule for these, but we will be doing quizzes on the reading. Okay. These quizzes are going to be different than normal quizzes. They're all multiple choice. Do them as many times as you want to do them until the day that they're due. So as soon as they open, I'll give you a 2-week grace period to do them. It's more like a study guide to help you just remember the concept that I've been through the reading, the things that I think are important. It's my first semester trying these out, this method, and it's been because I've learned in the past that if I just give you a reading, nobody does it. You know? If I just say, hey, here's a bunch of stuff you should probably read because it's really good for what we're trying to do, and it'll come in handy on like your projects and the midterms and whatever. Very few people actually. All right, so I'm gonna make it a quiz. It is graded. It'll be open note, open browser, whatever, and do it as many times as you want to get the score that you want. So why wouldn't you? Easy points. They're only worth like 50 points, so it's not a big deal. I'm gonna probably do them bi-weekly. I think every 2 weeks, but I'm not sure yet. We'll see. Okay. Attendance, don't worry about that. It's COVID. Attendance isn't real. Nothing matters. Here's a pretty loose schedule for the semester. We'll stick fairly close to it. Some of this might change, especially towards the end. Got a bunch of different COVID policies. So yeah, these COVID policies. Like I said, this course was an SD200. We already talked about that. Class could go fully online at any point in the semester. There's an outbreak in one of the dorms. Boom, online. Campus is going to close again. We'll see. We'll see how far we get. If you're a betting kind of person, I'm hoping for like 6 weeks max on campus. We'll see. If we make it 6 weeks on campus, I'm going to be amazed. Utterly amazed. Yeah, so that gives you an idea how I feel about that. Mask mandate. Gotta have a mask. Okay, you have to. If you're in a public space on campus, which pretty much everywhere is except your dorm, gotta wear a mask. Okay. If you come to class and you don't have a mask, I'm gonna ask you to leave. I'm gonna remind you to get a mask. I'm not gonna give you a mask because I don't have any. But I'm gonna ask you to leave. If you don't leave, I'll call public safety. Public safety issue. If that doesn't work, I'll remove you. I'm not against the nor opposed. I don't think that's going to happen. Yet to actually look at a student and be like, you seem like the person that's not going to wear a mask. If you don't want to wear a mask, don't come to class. Just don't come to class. It's okay. You can still do everything online. You know, if you would rather just be online, we don't care. Stay home. Be online. It's totally fine. I mean, the only thing you get in here is one-on-one, being able to ask me questions in real time. Okay? If that's important to you, but you're still like freaked out about coming to class, if someone won't wear a mask, then just do lots of office hours with us. You know, I'm okay with it. I can't officially be like, this class is only online. I would have if they let me. It's easier right now. I prefer to be in the classroom, but not like this. Right? This thing chafes. Hour 4 for wearing and talking. So if you feel like you might not wear a mask at some point and come to class, just don't come. Okay. Feel free to just stay home, figure out class stuff in there. You're still responsible for it. It's not getting you out of it. Right? But it is removing that public safety. So I feel very strongly about it, about people not wearing masks. So you might get some emotions from me if you decide to come to class. Yeah. Okay. Are there any questions about that? Does anyone want to just out themselves right now and be like, I'm going to be that person. I'm not going to wear a mask? No. Okay, good. Did you have a question?
Oh no, I was stretching.
Okay.
My friend
Great.
made me get up at 8 a.m. for breakfast.
You what now?
My friend made me get up at 8 a.m. to get food this morning, and I went to bed at 2. Because I'm back on college time.
How old are you?
20.
Okay. Wait about 20 years, we have some kids, and that's going to feel like a lot of time to sleep. Trust me. My 4-year-old crawled into bed at 5, and I went to bed at 1, and I didn't fall back to sleep after he crawled into my bed. Because he kicks. A lot. So yeah. Lots of coffee, that's all I gotta say. Gets you through it. Alright. Yeah, there's probably going to be something that happens with you get sick and you have to quarantine, etc., etc. I'm taking attendance, but I'm not really grading it. Okay? I'm only taking attendance so that I know if someone just hasn't shown up. Also, if you don't want to come, like I said earlier, you're still responsible for doing the project. If you don't come to class but still turn in projects, it's fine. Fine with me. Maybe let me know, send me an email and be like, hey, I'm going to do this. It's okay. All right. I got to remember that in some ways, so I'll find it. Academic misconduct for COVID stuff. This really pertains to recordings. Everything's being recorded right now. All the classes are, okay? And they're being made available to you. Don't misuse them, right? I have a tendency to curse. Don't make a mixtape of an endless loop of me cursing, right? I mean, you can if you want to. I don't really care. But, you know, those sorts of things. It's like
It's art.
It's art, right? It's just like cyberbullying is a very nebulous kind of concept. You know, nobody really knows. I mean, you know it when you see it, but it's hard to define, like the color red, right? If it can be construed as cyberbullying, Creighton has a lot of really severe consequences that are very happy to. You get caught doing this sort of thing. So really just be responsible adults, be nice people. It's not a hard thing to do. If you want to have a private conversation and I'm recording, maybe take the private conversation outside of the room. Okay. So I probably will record most of the class every day. Make sense? Everybody's good with that? Clear? Yeah? Okay. All right, so big thing. Classroom cleaning and seating and dismissal. Where you sit now is where you need to sit when you come. Okay, on your days. So on your Tuesdays. Assuming you're just going to come Tuesdays.
Yeah, I'm gonna come Tuesdays because my other class with you is on Thursday,
Oh, okay.
and it doesn't make sense for me to stay like at home all day.
Okay, good. So yeah, so where you're sitting now is where you need. Okay, I'm not going to make a seating chart. It's small enough that it should be fairly easy to remember. But just stay where you're at. When we dismiss, we're going to dismiss outside first, so the outside row first, and then we'll go by interior rows. So you'll go, then the second row goes, and third row goes. So probably like zigzag that, so you'll be the last person. What the procedure for this will be: come over here and sanitize your hands, grab a spray bottle, rip off some paper, spray this paper, take the spray bottle with you, whatever. Wipe down your area. Okay. If you're using one of the machines in here, wipe down the keyboard. The keyboards all have the bags on them now, so just wipe that bag over them. Wipe down your area, wipe down the chair. Usually just like the back of the chair, that kind of thing. Okay. You're sanitizing your hands before you touch that bottle because it gives you one bottle. Doesn't help stop transmission if everybody's touching that bottle, right? So sanitize your hands first. You can afterwards as well. And then we'll just sort of go slowly. I'm going to try to factor in 10, 15 minutes to do that. So I'll tend to end a little early. On the days when we do a lot, we go to like 3:30. I'll end, or when we would normally go to 3:45, I'll end it. That way we have time. Cool? Okay. Food and drink. If you are brave enough to want to ingest something in class right now, just make sure if you're on the outside that you have closed containers. Okay. If you're on the inside, that's up to you. It's your machine, it's your work. It's mostly just to make sure we don't spill anything. Yeah. Does everyone have their own laptops? Do you have something more than an iPad?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Just making sure. And Windows, everybody else is a Mac. That should be fine. Like Adam's cross-platform. Okay. Oh, those office hours are wrong. My bad. You talked about office hours already. We talked about criticism. Disability accommodations. If you're need like extra test time or anything like that, talk to the office of disability accommodations. They can confirm it. They'll send me an email. They might give you something to give to me, etc. It can all be handled outside of class, privately, or whatever. But you can just get whatever accommodation. Okay. Make sure class goes as smoothly as possible for you. Academic honesty. I feel very strongly about cheating. I have had in the past, and you've heard this story already. You may remember this story from last semester. But I've had students, or I've had one student in particular, a graduating senior, who asked another student for help, and that student gave this other student their code. And instead of just using that code as sort of a guide to write their own code, they just copied and pasted it. Well, not realizing that the program we were using, Xcode, code science. So it puts the name of whoever the software is registered to into the code automatically. Can't get away from it. So I opened up that person's project and I saw two signatures, two names. So then I looked at the other person's code and I went line by line and said, this is exactly the same. And then the other person fessed up to just copying the code. They were being lazy. Give themselves enough time to work on the final project. So they failed the course, and that class was only offered once a year. So they couldn't graduate in May. They did walk. They didn't get their diploma. They had to wait a year to retake that class with me because I'm the only person that teaches it. Yeah, awkward, right? So then they did that, and then they finally got their diploma a year after. Don't be that person. Professors are given a lot of latitude for how they want to pursue academics. I will pursue it in the fullest measure. I feel super strong. And you've all taken this, whether or not you know it, you've all taken this integrity pledge. It says you won't do that. So just kind of stick to it. All right. That's pretty much it. Does anybody have any questions over the syllabus? Or anything? Any questions about anything at all? There's a lot. Well? Okay, great. We're done. Let's go ahead and start dismissing.